I was 14 when my life turned upside down. My twin sister Alina and I were inseparable since birth. At least, that's what I thought. We shared clothes, secrets, and dreams. But beneath her perfect smile was jealousy I never saw coming. My parents adored her. She was the smart one, the beautiful one, the responsible twin. I was quieter, more introverted, and often lost in books and drawings. It all started one Friday afternoon. My parents came home early, faces cold and distant. My mother's voice trembled as she shouted my name. When I entered the living room, Alina sat there crying, her makeup smeared, clutching her torn blouse. "She did this to me," she screamed, pointing at me. My father's face turned red with anger. I was too stunned to speak. "What are you talking about?" I stammered, but she wouldn't stop crying. She told them I had pushed her, broken her things, and even stolen money from Mom's purse. None of it was true, but Alina had prepared everything: the broken items, the fake bruises, even the missing cash. My parents didn't give me a chance to explain. My father grabbed my backpack, stuffed some clothes into it, and said coldly, "If you can't live by our rules, you can't live under our roof." I begged, cried, tried to make them understand, but they turned away. My mother couldn't even look at me. That night, I stood outside our house in the cold rain with a small bag and nowhere to go. My twin watched from her window as I walked away. Her face didn't show guilt, just satisfaction. I didn't know then that this pain would shape my future and my revenge. After walking miles in the dark, I reached my grandmother's old farmhouse. She was the only one who ever truly loved me. When she opened the door and saw me soaked and shivering, she pulled me into her arms without asking a single question. I cried until I couldn't breathe. She simply whispered, "You're safe now, child. We'll make it through." That night, as I lay in her small guest room, I promised myself something. One day, I would make something of my life. And when that day came, my family would remember the daughter they threw away. Life with Grandma wasn't easy, but it was peaceful. We had very little, just her small pension and the vegetables we grew in the garden. But she gave me something priceless: love, trust, and strength. She encouraged me to go back to school, helped me with homework, and taught me never to let anger define me. I worked hard, got good grades, and earned a scholarship to a nearby high school. For years, my parents never called. I sometimes saw pictures of Alina online, smiling at parties, wearing new clothes, living the life I was denied. It hurt, but I used that pain as fuel. When I turned 18, Grandma passed away peacefully in her sleep. Losing her shattered me, but she left me a letter that changed everything. It read, "My dear girl, the world was cruel to you, but you are stronger than they'll ever be. Build your life, forgive, but never forget your worth." I worked part-time jobs, studied at night, and applied for college scholarships. Eventually, I got accepted into a business program. Those years were a blur of exhaustion and determination. I had no family, but I built my own circle, friends who became my support system. By the time I was 25, I owned a small but growing online design company. I had clients across the country, a small apartment, and a peaceful life. I rarely thought about my family anymore. Until one evening, my phone rang with an unfamiliar number. It was my mother. Her voice trembled as she said, "We need to talk." I froze. After 11 years, why now? She told me my father had fallen ill. The family business had collapsed, and they were facing foreclosure. Then came the words that made my heart turn cold. "Your sister said you might be able to help us financially." For a long moment, I said nothing. I could hear desperation in her voice, the same woman who hadn't believed me, now begging for help. I agreed to meet them, but deep down, I already knew this wasn't about love or regret. It was about money. When I arrived at my parents' house, it looked nothing like the home I remembered. The walls were cracked, the garden overgrown, the front door peeling. My father looked weaker, older. Life had humbled him. My mother avoided my eyes, and then Alina walked in, still trying to act superior, but clearly desperate. They explained how the family business had gone bankrupt after years of mismanagement. My father's medical bills had drained their savings, and Alina's lifestyle had only made things worse. "We just need a little help to get back on our feet," she said sweetly. I sat in silence, remembering the night they threw me out. Remembering the cold rain, my grandmother's arms, the years of struggle. My hands trembled, not with anger, but with the realization that life had come full circle. "I remember the night you told me to leave," I said quietly. "You believed her lies and turned your back on me. Now you want my help?" My father lowered his head in shame. For the first time, he whispered, "We were wrong." Alina stayed silent, her eyes darting nervously. I could have walked away, but I didn't. Instead, I handed them a small envelope. Inside was a check, not a huge one, just enough to settle their debts. "This is not forgiveness," I said calmly. "This is closure." As I stood up to leave, Alina called after me, tears streaming down her face. "Why are you helping us after everything?" I looked back and smiled faintly. "Because Grandma taught me to be better than my pain." I walked away that day not as the broken girl they abandoned, but as the woman who rebuilt herself from nothing. I had taken back my power, not through revenge, but through strength, success, and peace.